Hi, I'm Craig Bender, owner of Bender Shoes, Clothing, and Gifts. My parents, Angie and Roland Bender, bought Stenberg Shoes in Grand Rapids in 1973. Getting into the shoe business was pretty random. My mom had been in the clothing business in Dayton's for years, but then the transition into a shoe store was not in the plans. My aunt and uncle, Les and Dee Skoog, purchased a shoe store in Virginia just a year before we did in 1973, and that was kind of their foothold into the shoe business. My parents were no kids when they decided to transition into a new career. Dad was over 50, and to totally go into a different direction than he'd been in his whole life was quite a challenge or undertaking for him. As school began in the fall, Brian and I went off to do our own thing, and then I believe it was end of my junior year, I came back into the shoe store to work more or less full time, and that was my new job. When we purchased the store in Hibbing, it had 200 pairs of shoes. So it was virtually a non-existent shoe store. And my parents said, okay, here you go. The goal was to do $1,000 a week in retail sales. Dad said, if we do $1,000 a week, I think we can make it. That was the goal when we opened up in Hibbing. We took another big step in our Hibbing location where, again, we'd been for 15, 20 years and decided to totally renovate the store across the street in a former department store. In about 1991, we're at a market visiting with one of our sales reps. And he said, hey, that moccasin shop down the street in Grand Rapids is going to be for sale. But we thought, well, we know about moccasins and that's half their business. So the rest we'll figure out. In a gift shop, there's really nothing you have to have. It's all about fun. I loved working there. You'd see Grandpa come in with $5 for each one of the grandkids. He'd dole it out. The kids would go have fun. And it was really a lot of fun. So after we moved to Duluth, we operated for about 9 years actually. And we thought, we could really do well with clothing in Duluth. The store's growing quickly, exclusively shoes at that time. It was 4,000 square foot store. And we were just going to emphasize what Chuck had done in his former store and just do footwear. The opportunity came available to rent our current location here where Pier 1 operated for many years. This time my brother was manager of the construction basically, and we hired a lot of the work out. As my nieces and nephews got older, 3 of them had interest in the shoe business. And I don't think any of them took it seriously. Tara and Reed even said when they were younger that they had no interest in the shoe business because mom and dad would talk about it when they got home from school. So they said, there's no way we want to get into that.
I really never thought of being in the business, but as I got older and Craig kind of talked to me about it, I was like, maybe I would like this. So it kind of fell into my lap a little bit, wasn't planning this route, but it worked out and I love it so much.
They understand mom's and dad's dedication to the business and they kind of appreciate it. Kids started working mostly in high school age, during college, their summer, starting to focus on making the shoe business a career.
Hi, I'm Reed Bender, one of the co-owners of Bender's. Family business is interesting. It's a lot of fun. It can be chaos, but for the most part, we're lucky, to be able to work together. I think the most rewarding is just being in our communities in a small town. And, we've been here for a long time. We're trying to keep the legacy so-called going.
Our customers have steered us and we've tried to listen what they want the best. We kept working and we kept taking care of our customers. They kept coming back. And all of a sudden now we're 52 years in. When it became evident that the kids were going to get into the business, I couldn't let the store get old. They couldn't let the store get old or it wouldn't be viable for the future.
My mom has worked in the shoe store longer than my dad has. As of today, they are both retired family. That's huge for me. Just seeing where the business had been and the different changes that we've gone through. Grandma and Grandpa did things different than what Craig did. And our third generation is doing things different than how Craig did too. So that transition it's kind of cool and seeing how the business has had to change through the years too, but still stay alive.
Even if another shoe store comes in tomorrow, if we take care of our customers, have the product they need, we'll be all right. The challenge of knowing that my customers drive the bus, they're the reason we're here. And my wife calls to say, hey, should we go get pizza tonight? And I say, I'm busy and hang up. As newlyweds, that didn't go over well. It took her a while to understand that, oh, that's right. They're the customers who is buying my pizza. If I've been able to instill that in the kids, we'll be okay for another 50 years.